I'm Lynn Burin.
And I'm Fred Hutton. The following is our special rebroadcast of the NTV Evening News Hour from Friday, January 25th. Tonight on the NTV Evening News Hour, here we go again. Another 25 centimeters of snow sends cleanup crews scrambling across large sections of the province and leaves some finding an alternate way to work. Also tonight, dramatic testimony from the skipper of the ill-fated Melina and Keith 2. Darren Bent was there today as that matter continues to make its way through the courts. From Corner Brook, they have the East Coast Music Awards. What will it mean for the West Coast city? Also tonight, angry cab drivers protest in central Newfoundland. We'll tell you why. And from the Burin Peninsula, this dramatic accident. These stories and Teddy Purcell's first point in the National Hockey League. This is the NTV Evening News Hour.
The award-winning NTV Evening News Hour with Lynn Burin, Fred Hutton, Tony Marie Wiseman, and Glenn Carter.
Good evening, everyone. Also in tonight's newscast, we'll have the latest on the Fog Devils. Are they going to Quebec after all? A teleconference today with the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League will tell you the outcome in just a little while. As well, Sharon Snow will be by with places to go. Tonight, it's off to the Bulldog Gym for children. Lynn?
And first of all, this evening, Sharon has our weather preview.
And Fred, good evening to all of you. Well, it's certainly -3. Temperatures becoming considerably colder as the night wears on. Lynn and Fred, wind chill warning in effect for parts of Labrador. The blizzard warning is continued and a winter storm watch. Typical evening on a winter storm here in Newfoundland and Labrador. We'll have the details a little later for you with the AMS weather. But first, it's back to you, Lynn, for tonight's top news story.
Thank you, Sharon. Well, it's starting to sound like a broken record, but yet again, another winter storm has rolled in, and it's a big one, leaving up to 25 centimeters in some parts and bringing high winds and lots of drifts. Schools were closed yet again, and many are growing weary of what is becoming a record year. But as NTV's Jody Cook explains, there is, thank goodness, light at the end of the tunnel.
On days like today, there's not much sense being in a hurry, unless, of course, you're an ambulance. But even the most critical emergencies are no match for Mother Nature's fury.
This is a low-pressure system that formed off of North Carolina yesterday afternoon, so it's pretty quickly moving up the coast.
The swift-moving storm is wreaking havoc yet again on eastern parts of the province. It's the second one in 3 days for the Avalon Peninsula. And while many are cursing it, some are making peace with it.
We had enough that we can ski in once in a while. I'm actually feeling pretty fit today.
So this is actually a vacation day for you?
Yeah, surprisingly enough, what a great vacation, isn't it?
Far from the tropical vacation most picture, but for many students and teachers, they'll take what they can get, as today marked yet another vacation, a snow day, as the storm brought closures to most of the eastern school district jurisdictions, as well as colleges and libraries. On the roads, the Witless Bay line was closed Friday morning, and RCMP are asking motorists to heed caution.
Of course, driving conditions today are not perfect, far from perfect, so take your time, slow down, keep a safe distance between yourself and the vehicle in front of you, and give yourself plenty of time to stop if need be.
As for what to expect next, AMAC forecasters say not much, and that's a good thing. The storm is expected to taper off throughout the night, and then things are expected to start slowing down for the remainder of the winter season.
What it looks like over the next few weeks at least is that we'll go back to our typical Avalon winter storm, which is snow changing over to rain, will be hot and cold, not quite in this deep freeze that we've been seeing.
Like with most inclement weather in this province, it's not necessarily the precipitation that will get you, not even the accumulation, it's the wind. And that's precisely the case that meteorologists are warning about tonight. They say it could gust up to 90 kilometers an hour along the coast in the Bonavista Peninsula. And even though it might seem like a record breaker, meteorologists are still saying we haven't quite reached that record yet of the winter of 2000-2001. Jody Cook, NTV News.
Of course, we'll have more on the forecast a little bit later. Sharon Snow will be by with the details. Other news tonight, the skipper of a fishing vessel that overturned and claimed 4 lives took the stand today in his own defense. Sean Ralph told the court that the vessel Molina and Keys 2 overturned so quickly he didn't even have a chance to make a call for help. Here's NTV's Darren Bent with more.
Captain Sean Ralph of the Molina and Keith 2 has been on trial in St. John's for 8 safety-related violations of the Shipping Act. Today, he took the stand in his own defense. The captain told the court that the vessel had a number of survival suits, life jackets, and flotation vests, and that he had shown a number of the crew how the survival suits worked. However, he says on September 12th, when they were finishing a fishing trip just over 100 miles from shore, the vessel made 2 small rolls, and then the third time, it went over onto its side without warning. The captain, who went to the wheelhouse for the survival suit, said all the crew were outside by this time, standing on the side of the boat, and that he had to squeeze through a doorway to get out and could only take 1 survival suit with him. He said the vessel rolled upside down before he could get a call out for help. There was no time to react, only time to act, he told the court. For 2 hours, the captain, who was wearing a survival suit, said the 7 crews stood behind him to block the cold and the spray. He said he worried what would happen as the crew sang, "I'll be home for Christmas," tried to cheer each other up. But he said when they got to the part that said, "If only in my dreams," I almost lost it. Then he said, one of the men grabbed my hand and shook it. I looked at him and he nodded. That scared me worse than the boat turning over. Then the captain said the hull started to rise and they had to jump in the water. The captain said he jumped first and told the others to grab onto him because he could float. He said 2 did, but he never saw the others in the water again, including his younger brother, who was part of the crew. After an hour in the water, he found himself alone. The others had gone for an aluminum boat. He went to them, but only found one of the crew, who told him the other man couldn't hold on any longer. He said he told the crewman, who was his brother's best friend, to hold on. After 2 hours in the water, another fishing vessel rescued them. 4 of the 8 aboard the Molina and Keith 2 on that trip drowned during the incident. The captain is on trial, and there has been sharp criticism of the Coast Guard's handling of the rescue. The trial will continue in May. Darren Bent, NTV News.
Well, this week, the Vice President of Eastern Health admitted that they are still struggling to get organized 3 years after the Healthcare Corporation amalgamated. As NTV's Carolyn Stokes reports, that has raised concerns about the state of the province's health authority.
To me, more than ever, there's even more evidence in my mind that we need a review of how the new system is working.
NDP leader Lorraine Michaels says she's disturbed by the testimony heard in court this week when Eastern Health's vice president stated that they're still struggling with the consolidation of the board.
To say at any point in time that any organization to say that we have today, we're excellent in all areas of our operation, would probably not be a realistic expectation. And the whole concept of quality improvement is what we're hearing Dr. Howell talk about, is that they've identified that they need some additional resources in that area, and they will be focusing on that.
So somebody has to figure out here who's not doing their job right and do something about it.
Health Minister Ross Wiseman says he's not surprised to hear that Eastern Health is having troubles. He says they're still going through a transition period, even though it's been 3 years since the boards amalgamated.
What they're trying to suggest is the government made some administrative decision to consolidate boards, and as a result, there's a mess. And nothing is further from the truth.
He hasn't asked for information about how things are going with regard to quality control. That really bothers me. I think the Minister of Health right now really has to look at, is he doing his job? And I think the Premier has to look at, is the Minister of Health doing his job?
Ms. Michaels says she would like to see a formal inquiry into the governance structure of Eastern Health because she says something is not working.
What's happened over the last 2 days means even more than before that we should have an outside body look at what's going on. Even the relationship between the ministry and the authority needs to be looked at.
But each time you inundate an organization with reviews and evaluations and sending in SWAT teams to do complete analysis of organizations in a massive way, akin to what an inquiry does, that creates in and of itself a disruption that they need to manage.
The minister says Eastern Health should be given more time to find its feet before a formal inquiry could even be considered.
1,000 parts of...
Carolyn Stokes, NTV News.
They're very thin.
While Premier Danny Williams likes to highlight his combative relationship with the national media, well, today, the Globe and Mail's report on Business Magazine published a profile of the Premier that was both tongue-in-cheek and complimentary. The Premier graces the cover dressed as a socialist revolutionary. The article is called The Making of Danny Chavez, How Newfoundland's Revolutionary Premier Beat Big Oil. It profiles the Premier's battles with the federal government and the oil industry. In the past, the Globe and Mail has compared the Premier to the socialist president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, who has sought government control over the oil industry.
Well, some other news now. The deal is done. The sale of the St. John's Fog Devils got final approval from the league less than an hour ago. Team president Brad Dobbin told NTV News that the sale was approved following a day-long teleconference meeting with other team owners in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. The Dobbins have sold the Fog Devils to Montreal businessman Farrell Miller for $3.1 million. The team will move to Verdun, Quebec at the end of this season. The Fog Devils are leaving St. John's just 3 years after the expansion franchise was awarded to the city. Meanwhile, the sale of the Fog Devils means the team will be part of the city's sports fabric no longer. Today, officials of the Mile 1 board met to talk about the future and an arena that is about to lose its only tenant. Here's NTV's Glenn Carter.
At the end of this hockey season, the Fog Devils will be gone, leaving Mile 1 management and its board of directors with a problem on their hands: where and how to find another permanent tenant for the Mile 1 facility. They weren't given much warning. The Fog Devils were on their way out.
Obviously, this happened quite suddenly on Tuesday, so we met this morning just to kind of walk through the process. I mean, our objective right now is to kind of look at, from a marketing point of view, what events, sports and entertainment, can we run through the building. Obviously, we have a shortfall on nights now with the Fog Devils, I guess, departure.
Mile 1 Stadium is busy about 100 days a year. The average for a facility like this is about 120. Smith says the loss of the Fog Devils won't cripple them in terms of its financial impact. Still, they haven't come up with the final numbers on lost revenue yet. The board of directors met today to at least begin the process of trying to figure out where to go from here.
Really, at this point in time, what we want to do is really step back and really spend the next couple of months looking at all the different marketing opportunities that might be out there for events in the facility.
The Fog Devils were here for 2.5 years, and in the beginning there were great hopes. Those hopes began to fade when fans started to stay away, even when the cost of a ticket dropped. Jerry Smith says they'll be working to fill those seats again with more entertainment events and maybe more hockey.
This is twice now that we've lost the hockey team. Is there a lesson to be learned, do you think, from any of this?
Well, you know, a 15-year run of a hockey team with the Maple Leafs, that was a solid run. I think when the demise of the Maple Leafs, when they left here and went to Toronto, I think that was probably like one of the longest runs of an American Hockey League franchise. So we had a pretty good run at that. Will the opportunity come up again? Possibly, and you know, so you can't rule that out. Obviously, with two teams in that here and gone, you've got to really know as opportunities come up down the road that you're going to be ready for them, that they make sense, and they can work here. And that's kind of that review process we're going to go through and over the next few months, just to really update those models and really understand them as best we can.
While the provincial government is investigating a potential exposure of private information to the internet, the incident involves a laptop computer owned by a private company doing contract work for the Workplace Health, Safety and Compensation Commission. The computer was connected to a file-sharing program and exposed information to the internet. The government was informed on Tuesday of the problem by a computer security company. The government has initiated a forensic investigation to determine exactly what information was exposed. A similar incident happened before Christmas when a contract worker took a laptop home from the public health lab.
Well, deteriorating weather and highway conditions early this morning seem to have been contributing factors in a single motor vehicle mishap on the main Burin Peninsula Highway in Mooring Cove, which is just a few kilometers from Marystown. 2 people were traveling in the vehicle. Left town early this morning from Marystown, hoping to beat the predicted snowstorm headed that way. However, their vehicle left the highway, hitting a guardrail and taking out 16 posts and 3 guardrails before it finally came to rest on the edge of the snowbank. The situation could have been much worse had the vehicle jumped the guardrails and ended up in Butler's Pond. Major damage was also done to the undercarriage of that vehicle. A close call indeed. And again, the RNC and RCMP warning motorists to stay off the roads this evening because it is extremely slippery. You don't have to go out, don't bother. As you'll see in our business report this evening, the weather having a lot of impact today, shutting down the internet at some point this afternoon. We don't have all our market figures, but some tonight. Gold and oil prices continue to rise today, but North American stocks closed out the week mostly lower. Here's our business report in detail.
Tonight's business report is brought to you in part by Comfort Inn.
The Comfort Inn. Refined decor. Tantalizing menus. Join us at the Comfort Inn Airport, where we take care of the million little things.
Still ahead in tonight's news, we'll have Sharon Snow and places to go. Also this evening, we'll have a look at our question of the week on the loss of our Fog Devils. And as well this evening, Brook has the East Coast Music Awards. How will that benefit the West Coast city? This is the NTV Evening News Hour.
Well, this Monday, the fish plant in Marystown will begin operations under its new owner, Ocean Choice International. It is the beginning of a new era for workers at the plant. However, workers say the uncertainty continues. Ross Tilley reports.
Since June of last year, Fishery Products International has been operating the plant in Marystown, employing 300 workers for 25 weeks. The plant was shut down on December the 15th and is scheduled to reopen on January the 28th under new management, Ocean Choice International. But news for plant workers is not good.
It was told that, the plant was going to start on the 28 and 2 shift. Half hour before the meeting, it was told that that could now be just 1 shift. That's not for certain, so depends on the catch rates for this week. And I certainly hope that we, with the catch rates dropping enough to bring the 2 full shifts back.
Bill Stockley says this is not what he expected from takeover by OCI, and he feels even though the plant is under a new operator, nothing has changed for plant workers.
I can't see where anything has changed, not to the benefit of the workers. I personally see some things that's happening right now that is not to the benefit of the workers, and we're in as bad a state, if not worse, than we were before this company took over.
Mr. Moulton says it will always be an uphill battle where the fishery is concerned, but he offers a couple of suggestions as to how the situation can be improved.
Well, with the limited amount of fish you got, to try and regulate the fishery, I think it'd be money well spent, and I don't see much other solution, to be quite honest, other than to take some of the older workers out the way you can hang on to the people, because somewhere down the road, if something's not soon done, we're going to run into that problem, where the people that's there in their current age are going to be moving on and left with nobody there to run the industry. So I think government needs to take a hard look at that and try and do something to make sure something's done to keep some of these younger people around.
Plant workers are anxious to get back to work, says Mr. Moulton, and begin building a relationship with the new owners, but cautions that all decisions made cannot be done on the backs of plant workers. Reporting from Marystown, Ross Tilley for NTV News.
Well, cab companies in Grand Falls, Windsor are uniting to fight a recent decision by the town council. Here's NTV's Colleen Lewis with more on the story tonight.
5 of the 6 cab companies in Grand Falls, Windsor took to the streets on Thursday to protest a decision made by council. Cab drivers here have been using a metered system since 1990, and flat rates are not allowed. However, according to the town, the 6 cab company, which, by the way, wasn't invited to the protest, recently requested council allow companies to bid on some of the larger contracts. And now other operators are fuming.
So if 5 of us don't want that, then obviously somewhere along the line somebody must have said that they wanted it. So why address one's concerns and not address all of our concerns when it comes to that? Because as soon as you open up the door for flat rating, and like I said, the town of Grand Falls Windsor Police have a difficult time now enforcing that. What's going to happen when the door swings wide open?
And Mr. O'Driscoll says he believes the current committee of council who made the decision should be held accountable before a new committee is elected in the near future.
That committee will, in a couple of weeks, will be no longer in place. There'll be a new committee put there. So the people that are responsible for making these amendments, we want to see them and make sure that they're accountable as of today for the decisions that they made regarding these changes. And I have to remind the town of Grand Falls, Windsor, that it's one thing to take on the job of regulating a man's business, but there's also a responsibility that goes with that position. And we would really appreciate some feedback or some contact with these people prior to making decisions that drastically affect our business.
Members of the committee are currently out of town, but the cabbies say they'll continue to push until they get their answers from council. For NTV News, I'm Colleen Lewis in Grand Falls, Windsor.
And a by-election is underway in Grand Falls, Windsor, with advanced polls taking place on Saturday. Polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in Grand Falls, Windsor on Saturday, with the by-election set to take place on January 29th. There are 6 candidates, including Roger Barnett, Amy Cody Davis, Mark Griffin, Don Pelly, Blaise Pinsent, and Roy Pitcher. The by-election is being held to fill the seat vacated by Susan Sullivan, who became the Progressive Conservative MHA for Grand Falls Windsor Buckins back in October. While the union representing workers on board Marine Atlantic Ferry says some workers on board the MV Atlantic freighter have been told they'll need further medical tests to determine if they have any health problems related to their exposure to asbestos on board that vessel.
Last year, it was discovered that current and former workers on board the Atlantic freighter might have been exposed to asbestos present in some sections of the ferry. Last month, nearly 60 of the 1,000 past and present ferry employees underwent a series of tests on their lungs to determine if there were any health issues that might have stemmed from exposure to the asbestos. Among that group, 7 people were advised to obtain future tests from their family physicians due to potential problems found in the initial round of testing. 3 individuals among the 7 were told their health issues could be linked to exposure to asbestos. A spokesperson for the Canadian Auto Workers Union, which represents the Marine Atlantic ferry workers, said the initial group of people tested in Port-aux-Basques were judged by the company to have a high risk of asbestos exposure. But the CAW is concerned that the list of people with health problems could be larger, as the group of high-risk workers initially tested came from the current labor pool. The union says there are many retired workers who also could have had a high risk of exposure. According to the union, current and former workers with health problems related to exposure to asbestos on board the Atlantic freighter may be eligible for workers' compensation.
Well, now it's time for a first look at the weather forecast, which is essentially returning to our top story this evening. Another storm, another 25 centimeters of snow, another snow day.
But Jody Cook reported that there is news, or good, or light at the end of the tunnel, good news to report on the weather, that hopefully all these storms will end and we'll get back to some normal weather next week.
In May, I think they end.
I hope not.
Sometime later on.
Oh, my. Anyway, that's it. A lot of people have sore backs from shoveling. And anyway, Sharon Snow is out this evening. She's going to give us more information on the weather. Hi, Sharon. How are you doing?
I'm not doing too bad, Lynn. In fact, it is quite gusty just before we went to air. And as I mentioned off the top, it's going to continue to be gusty winds throughout the evening here on the Avalon Peninsula. Expect gusts up to 90 kilometers per hour. It's about -6 right now, and with the wind chill, feels like -13. Talk about wind chill factors. Well, Labrador, you are definitely setting records In fact, Wednesday past, Churchill Falls, you set a wind chill record of minus 42. That was cold, but it's going to become even colder tonight and into tomorrow. Even though tomorrow you can expect a mix of sun and cloud for Labrador, wind chill factors, it will feel like minus 48, minus 50 overnight in Churchill Falls, minus 50. Nowhere near that right now here on the Avalon. About 13 centimeters have fallen. You can say literally the city of St. John's, Mount Pearl surrounding areas have been shut down for the day. Metrobus has stopped, and the malls, that has stopped, and every retailer has just about closed their doors. 13 centimeters have fallen. Expect upwards of a total accumulation of about 25, maybe even a little more by the time this stops. But the considering factor, Lynn and Fred, will be the winds. And they're from the north. They're going to gust to 90 kilometers per hour. So, of course, as a result, all the snow that has fallen on the ground, that is going to be quite gusty. So, as you mentioned, Fred, earlier, if you don't have to go out tonight, best not to. We're going to take our look at the first look now with our continental satellite image.
Tonight's AMEC weather forecast is brought to you by
Collision Clinic. Your car, our patients. In practice since 1978.
Well, fair skies across British Columbia today under high pressure, which moved into Alberta throughout the day. A weak top spread flurries into northeastern Ontario and western Quebec, but much of southern Ontario was there as a high pressure system built in from the south. Here in Atlantic Canada, well, flurries in eastern Maritimes ended this afternoon and behind the intense flow which affected Newfoundland. Snow at times heavy and blowing snow began early this morning in eastern Newfoundland. Expect to taper off overnight tonight, as we mentioned, as that quickly tracks into the North Atlantic. The highest amounts will occur here on the Avalon, where the storm totals could reach upwards of 25 centimeters. By tomorrow morning, wind gusts up to 90 kilometers per hour along the coast of the Avalon tonight. That's going to cause considerable blowing snow and drifting snow. Of course, very cold temperatures combined with the winds will produce bitter wind chills across the entire province, especially in Labrador, where values could drop below minus 50 in the west overnight.
And, of course, Sharon will be back a little later with more details on the weekend forecast.
And coming up next here on the NTV Evening News Hour, after this short break, John Bradshaw tells us about what's happening on the West Coast. Big news about the East Coast Music Awards and what it will mean for the West Coast city. The details in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. The city of Corner Brook gained a national reputation among sporting groups after it played host to the 1999 Canada Winter Games. Well, next year, the city will again be cast into the national spotlight, this time as the host community for the East Coast Music Awards. Here's NTV's Don Bradshaw with more on what it means for Corner Brook.
In a little more than a year, the eyes of the Canadian music industry will be focused on venues like the Pepsi Centre as Corner Brook plays host to the 2009 East Coast Music Awards. The four-day conference and award show will bring some of this country's top musicians and music executives to the Bay of Islands next February. And that means big bucks for local businesses at a traditionally slow period of the year.
The economic impact is the sheer amount of people that will be using our accommodations, our restaurants, the events that will need production space and time and staff. And so all of those types of industries have an immediate impact. So I think they're going to be able to, block their hotel rooms, their restaurants will be nonstop, and the bars. There'll be music everywhere.
And a lot of that music will be provided by local artists. For them, getting a chance to showcase their talents in front of some of the top people in their industry can be a solid career move. Lloyd Bartlett is a member of Music Newfoundland and Labrador's Board of Directors. He says having an event like the ECMAs in Corner Brook is a significant opportunity for West Coast musicians.
All these people around here get to play and perform and meet people from other provinces and industry movers and shakers, agents and people like that, publicists and stuff. They're all going to be here with the, big and small named artists that will land here for that weekend.
I'm looking forward to performing if I can.
One of those musicians hoping to get her big break at next year's conference is 24-year-old Natalie Atella. As an artist just getting her start in the industry, she doesn't have the know-how at this point in her career to market herself to the top music executives across the country.
I've been writing music for a long time. I've had a lot of good response, but I mean, when you're at the local level, I mean, there's not a lot of avenues that you can take if you want to stay in a small place. So to have business people actually coming where you live and getting exposure that way, it's going to be a really good thing for sure.
It just means a lot in terms of opportunity to show what you can do, to get just to meet people and network, because that's what the music industry is all about. You have to network, and you have to get to know people if you want to get anywhere beyond where you are right now.
A local committee is being put together to help organize next year's ECMAs. The dates for that event will be announced next month at this year's East Coast Music Awards in Fredericton. For NTV News, Don Bradshaw, Corner Brook.
Well, last year was a tough one for newsprint mills in our province. However, the mill in Corner Brook is investing millions this year in an effort to ensure a better quality product reaches the market. NTV's Larry Day has that story.
The closing of one of the paper machines at the Corner Brook mill was perhaps the toughest hurdle the mill had to clear last year. That, combined with the high Canadian dollar and the high price of oil, were all part of the battle the West Coast mill fought during 2007. This year, Corner Brook Pulp and Paper is fine-sanding its research and development effort thanks to $1.1 million in federal funding, which is part of almost $3 million it will spend on research and development in order to produce a better product. Mill spokespeople say it's a tight market for their product, and if they can produce, at the same price, a better grade of paper than their competitors, it stands to reason that buyers will choose the better quality newsprint. Larry J., NTV News. Minister of Finance today responded to criticism that the government's pre-budget consultations are a waste of time. The opposition says government has already made up its mind on how the record surplus is going to be spent, and the submissions being presented will not be acted upon. Finance Minister Tom Marshall says that is simply not the case.
If the budget was already set, why would I do it? You know, I do it because I want to hear what people have to say. I mean, you learn from listening to people, especially when you get a chance to travel the island and travel Labrador and go to places where you know, I mean, I'm in Corner Brook and St. John's a lot, but I'm not in Happy Valley Goose Bay a lot, and it's good for me to go there and listen carefully.
And Tom Marshall is a special guest this week on Issues and Answers, which airs Sunday afternoon at 12:30. Well, now on Places to Go with Sharon Snow, a visit to the Bulldog Gym.
Places to Go with Sharon Snow.
Tonight on our Places to Go, we are working out. And to do that, we come to Bulldog Interactive Fitness. It's here in the Torbay Road Mall. This is Shelley Morris, and she's the owner-operator of Bulldog Interactive Fitness. Tell me about this particular program.
Well, our gym is for children ages 3 and up. We have programs. Our fitness area is for children 8 and over. However, we do have programs for children 3 to 8. We have an after-school program, parent-taught drop-in.
Wow, that's a lot going on here. Now, who is this particular class that we see right here now?
Today we have St. Anne's Elementary, grade 3 class. Right here, the kids are using our sport wall, which is a 2-piece of equipment, which teaches hand-eye coordination and reaction time. So basically what they have to do, they're in teams of 2, where they chase the target, and they try to get as many points as they can.
Tell me about this particular area.
This is our fitness area. This is for children 8 and over. Here we have our dance pads, which are all, you step on the arrows and you follow the screen. There's different levels for experts or just beginners, and it's a fantastic workout. You pick whatever song you want to dance to, as you're on it. Whichever video is next to the screen, that's the one that's in that particular one. They all have different options.
And how about down here?
Down here in this area, this is our rowing machine. This is what we call our personal training area, because we have our rowing machines and our circuit equipment. It's all hydraulic circuit equipment, so it's safe for the kids. We also have some free weights, but the highest weight we have is 20 pounds, and we only introduce that once the child finishes one complete workout lot.
Right. This would be great as a kids retreat, kids school trip.
Yes, we have something for everyone to do. You know, and it's all interactive, and the kids love video games, and here at our facility, they play their video games, but they're exercising at the same time, and they don't even realize it.
And so this is the objective behind video games such as this, for instance.
Yeah, these are exercise bikes, so what it is they're hooked up to PlayStation 2, and they're all racing games, and in order to race, you pedal. That's what controls the speed of your bike. You're pedaling. So this is our tread wall. Yeah, and so Jennifer's going to control it here because no kids can get on this unless there's a staff here.
All right.
So basically what you do, you just start climbing.
And
the
it won't
wall
move
will do
until
it.
I climb.
The wall won't move until you start climbing.
I've been known to climb the walls before. Well, not only do they have the tread wall, birthday parties as well.
Oh, yes.
Smoothies.
Smoothie bar.
All right, there's more programs that include a ball. Let's go.
Okay, so we're in our gymnasium now. We're doing a bozo ball class, and Jennifer is our kinesiologist on staff, so she teaches all of our programs like this. So basically, you're learning how to balance and improving your strength and flexibility on the bozo ball.
And of course, the final part of this is to try and balance on the bozo ball. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
Don't go too far. It's Bulldog Interactive Fitness here at the Torbay Road Mall, and it is a place to go.
Well, turning now to national and international news, another sad day in Kandahar today. Hundreds of people bid farewell to Corporal Etienne Gantier today, 78th Canadian soldier to be killed in Afghanistan. The soldiers saluted the man who was called Jellybean by his friends, and his body was escorted up the tarmac by 8 of his brothers in arms. Captain Claude Pigeon said that it is important to remember he did not die as a victim, but rather as a success in the profession he chose. The 21-year-old was killed on Wednesday by a roadside bomb. Padre Pierre Bergeron called on Gantier's friends and family members to stay strong despite this tragic event. Well, from the United States, firefighters had to battle a fire that erupted today on the top 4 floors and roof of the Monte Carlo Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. The fire was contained in the west wing and almost contained in the south wing. According to the fire department late this afternoon, officials said there were no reports of any injuries. Earlier, black smoke billowed into the air and was visible from more than a mile away. Guests and visitors were evacuated from the building as the flames raged. Traffic was backed up on the strip as well as crowds of people gathered to watch the fire. The hotel has more than 3,000 rooms, including 211 penthouse suites and conference rooms. More expensive rooms are on the top floors. The Monte Carlo was built in 1996 for $344 million.
And it's time for a short break on the NTV Evening News Hour. Please stay with us. Still ahead, Sharon Snow will be by with the detailed weather forecast. Is the snow going to end over the weekend? Apparently it will, but the temperatures are going to be very cold in many areas. She'll tell you all about that.
And coming up next, we've got highlights from the world of sports, including a milestone for someone from this province. Ted Purcell notched his first NHL point last night. Tell you all about it coming up in just a moment.
Good evening, everyone. It is time for our grand prize draw of the NTV Lucky Number Contest. Tonight, we are giving away our VIP trip for 4 to the world-class Humber Valley Resort. And with us is the marketing manager at the Humber Valley Resort, Lisa Anthony. And tell us just a little bit about the prize that we're giving away tonight.
Well, we've got 4 very lucky people coming our way. We're going to put them on flights with Provincial Airlines to come out to the resort. We're putting them up in a fantastic chalet on the water with an outdoor hot tub, gourmet kitchens, bedrooms with bathrooms to themselves, lots of privacy.
Now, if you haven't been to the Humber Valley Resort, it's absolutely phenomenal. I've been there a couple of times, and you always get treated first class, 5-star all the way, and the chalets are out of this world. The outdoor hot tubs, you're really going to enjoy that.
She's even walked through the snow to get in once, so it must be worth it. Then we're going to send our 4 guests snowmobiling on one of, we offer our own snowmobiling products, so they're going to have a trip with us.
And snowmobiling on the West Coast is phenomenal.
Absolutely. But of course, after all that adventure, you have to pamper yourself, so we're going to put everybody in our Found Spa, which is an Nevada Concept Spa. We're very proud of our spa, and going to have some special treats there.
Okay, and of all the pampering I've had done at the spa, I have to tell you that the deep tissue massage is quite lovely after a day of skiing.
Exactly. Then, of course, you're going to be hungry. So we're going to send everybody to our dining room at Strawberry Hill for a fantastic fine dining meal.
And the view from there is just beautiful as well.
Right on the river, right on the Humber River, very pretty. And, of course, we'll be flying our guests with a car rental.
Can't go wrong. It is the VIP trip here it is. We are going to draw the winner. Now, we've had qualifiers from all over, from Holyrood, Brigus, St. John's, Botwood, and our grand prize winner tonight is
Elizabeth Porter of St. John's.
Well, congratulations, Elizabeth. We hope you enjoy your VIP trip to the world-class Humber Valley Resort, and you're going to bring 3 friends with you. It's going to be a great time. Thank you, Lisa, for the prize. It's great. And make sure you join us again on Sunday night as we reveal a brand new prize with the NTV Lucky Number Contest.
Welcome back, everyone. On to sports now with a big night for St. John's native Teddy Purcell playing with the Los Angeles Kings. He recorded his first NHL point in a game against Anaheim. He set up Derek Armstrong in the second for the game-winning goal. Teddy Purcell, number 54 along the left here. Set up for Armstrong. Not a bad goal. His first point recorded in the NHL. Good for him. Of course, we'll keep you posted on his career. Here's the rest of our sports reel.
And that was a great compliment.
What a spectacular night for Daniel Alfredson. He had a career night with 3 goals and 4 assists, snapping a 3-game losing streak by dumping Tampa Bay 8-4. Meanwhile, it appears hotels and airports don't sit well with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, that's what it is. The Buds have lost 11 of 13 on the road following a 2-1 setback in Washington. Alexander Ovechkin set up both Washington goals. Garrett Stoll tied the game for Edmonton by scoring twice in the final minute and 23 seconds of regulation. And they went on to beat Florida 4-3 in a shootout. If you're keeping track, that's now the 12th win this season for the Oilers that have been decided in a shootout. And finally, the Montreal Canadiens outshot New Jersey 20-3 in the third period while scoring the game's final 3 goals in a 4-3 come-from-behind win over the Devils, ending a 9-game losing streak to New Jersey.
The initial try was by
And now it's time to check in once again with Sharon Snow. And a reminder to our viewers, first of all, that the RNC issued a warning late this afternoon that roads on the northeast Avalon are very slippery. They're urging people to drive with extreme caution. If you have to be out at all, please be very careful. And Sharon Snow is outside once again. Sharon, how are things shaping up out there now?
Well, as you can see, Lynn, it's quite gusty. Right now, the gusts are about 44 kilometers per hour, expected to get up to about 90 as the night wears on. And, of course, as we mentioned earlier, the problem with all of that, of course, is the snow that's already fallen will continue to fall throughout the night. That's going to be moving around. And as you mentioned, if you don't have to go outside, it's truly best not to at this point in time. Metrobus has stopped service. And as I mentioned earlier, all retailers, for the most part, have been closed. The major centers have been closed. Now, it's supposed to snow about 25 centimeters between now and overnight tonight. But a mix of sun and cloud, as you saw in Jody's report a little bit earlier in our broadcast. Sun and cloud to look forward to for tomorrow. So that's not too bad. And a little earlier in the week when Stephen was here, he mentioned that possibly, maybe something could be happening on Monday. At this point in time, we're happy to say that that is not the case. Sunshine is expected for both Newfoundland and Labrador into Monday as well, although the temperatures will be cold. They continue to be cold in Labrador tonight as well as Newfoundland. As we mentioned, wind chill warnings in effect for parts of Labrador. Getting down to minus 48. It's going to feel like it's minus 48 degrees. And quite frankly, what it feels now here where I'm standing is about minus 13, so that's considerably colder. And quite frankly, I can't imagine it being that cold, minus 48 to minus 50 degrees. Churchill Falls, you're breaking wind chill records, and it kind of feels like we're maybe going to break a winter snowfall record here on the Avalon like we did back in 2001. And we all remember what those snowbanks look like, don't we? But temperature's not too bad, minus 3. You know what? In our North American shot in the Bahamas today, gorgeous sunshine and beautiful temperatures. Take a detailed look now with temperatures across North America earlier today.
Tonight's AMAC weather is brought to you in part by the 2008 Toyota Tundra. See your Newfoundland and Labrador dealer today. Toyota trucks never quit.
Sunshine in the Bahamas and 25 degrees. In Calgary, -3 with morning flurries. In Halifax, -12, a mix of sun and cloud. Rain in Los Angeles and 16 today. New York, 1 degrees with sunshine. Sun and cloud in Tampa and 18 degrees. Toronto today, -4 with sun and cloud, mainly sunny in Vancouver and 4 degrees. Our Canadian temperatures now at Edmonton, -7. Morning flurries and some clearing in the afternoon. Fredericton, -13 with sunshine. Flurries in Fort McMurray today, a -8. Goose Bay today, sunshine, -26 degrees though. In Halifax, -12 with a mix of sun and cloud. Cloudy and sunny periods with flurries in Iqaluit today, a -25. In St. John's, daytime high of -4 today with snow and blowing snow. Mainly sunny in Vancouver and 4. Winnipeg, -11 with cloudy skies. Yellowknife, -19 and flurries. For Newfoundland, overnight tonight, temperatures from -13 to -28. In St. Anthony, snow tapering to flurries with blowing snow about 5 centimeters. Wind chill factor feels like -28 overnight tonight here on the Avalon. Wind chill factor of -25 in Marystown. Flurries expected in Port Gander. It's going to feel like -32 where you are. In Corner Brook, -30, partly cloudy skies for St. Anthony and -28 overnight. For tomorrow, for Newfoundland, temperatures from -9 to -21 is the expected daytime high. For St. Anthony, a mix of sun and cloud, scattered flurries in Corner Brook, flurries for Port aux Basques, sun and cloud though for Gander, and sunshine for Marystown. Expected flurries to end in St. John's by tomorrow morning, meaning you can expect a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon. For Labrador, overnight temperatures from -30 to -40, partly cloudy skies in Cartwright, wind chill -43, -46 in Goose Bay with the wind chill factor, and -52. Going to feel like overnight tonight in Churchill Falls. For Labrador tomorrow, temperatures from -22 to -27. Sunshine is the order for the day, though. A mix of sun and cloud expected in Lab City, Walbert. You're extended now for Newfoundland on Saturday, sun and cloud with some scattered flurries and a high of -9. -6 for Sunday with sun and cloud on Monday and -1. Showers for Tuesday and a high of +5. For Labrador on Saturday, sun and cloud, wind chills -35 to -40, and a high of -22. On Sunday, sunshine and -18. And on Monday, mix of sun and cloud with the possibility of flurries along the west coast of -8. And on Tuesday, cloudy skies to -2.
Tonight's entertainment wrap is brought to you by Newfoundland's best-selling magazine, the Newfoundland Herald, featuring Howie Mandel, host of NTV's Deal or No Deal, on this week's cover.
This might be the last video footage of Heath Ledger. British website, the LondonPaper.com, posted the grainy cell phone video. It says it was shot from an apartment window overlooking the London set of Ledger's movie, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. It was reportedly recorded 3 days before the 28-year-old movie star's death. Ledger's body is at a Manhattan funeral home. Arrangements have not been made public. Amy Winehouse has checked into rehab. The British singer's record label says she's acknowledged she needs professional help in a battle against drug addiction. On Wednesday, Scotland Yard said it was looking into a video that showed Winehouse smoking something in a glass pipe. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Chris Chandler reporting from Atlanta.
The whole thing is pretty overwhelming.
Oscar winner Billy Bob Thornton
All
has
of it.
signed to co-star with Clive Owen and Julia Roberts in the new corporate thriller Duplicity, written and directed by Tony Gilroy. If the name sounds familiar, that's because Gilroy has already picked up 2 Oscar nominations for writing and directing Michael Clayton, which is also a Best Picture contender in next month's Academy Awards. Among the snow-topped mountains and screenings of new flicks at the Sundance Film Festival this week is a fresh face, singer Josh Groban. Turns out the baritone whose Christmas disc Noel was the best-selling album of 2007 is a movie buff.
There's some amazing work here, and so it inspires me musically to go back out and write more music for my album. I love the way that music is involved in how it inspires film.
Where did you meet this person?
On the internet?
Yeah, well, everybody's doing that now.
The screenplay of Lars and the Real Girl, starring Ryan Gosling, netted Nancy Oliver an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay. A former staff writer on HBO's 6 Feet Under, Oliver notes that the movie is about more than a man who falls in love with a life-size doll.
It's also about the essential human loneliness that we all feel. I mean, you don't have to be as lonely as Lars to know how it feels. You know, the pain of being isolated from your community, from your family, from anybody.
And it's time for another short break on the NTV Evening News Hour. Up next, Jim Furlong will be here with Today in History. Please stay with us.
Entertainment Tonight is next on Canada's superstation, NTV.
On the cover of this week's Newfoundland Herald, it's Howie Mandel, host of NTV's Deal or No Deal. One of TV's biggest shows is raising the stakes and breaking the bank. Find out how Deal or No Deal has taken its game to the next level. Plus, we give you the inside scoop on the emotional documentary Dear Zachary, the high-profile case involving murder and suicide. Meanwhile, Tom Rideout tells his side of the story, while Newfoundland actor Alan Hocko talks about Hollywood and nudity, plus more. Find out what you're missing only in Newfoundland's best-selling magazine, the Newfoundland Herald. On sale now.
Welcome back, everyone. Here now is Jim Furlong with Today in History.
The year was 1942, and it was the dark, dark days of the Second World War. Britain and Newfoundland, of course, had been at war since 1939. The Americans had been in the war since December of 1941. In 1942, Newfoundland was a very real, possible target for Germany. Of course, Newfoundland suffered the submarine attacks at Belle Island and the loss of the Caribou in the Gulf. In 1942, we were on edge here. Nerves were frayed. The Civil Defense League instituted a blackout. It was decreed that there be a blackout. The first practice for that blackout took place in 1942 when the lights went out at 12 midnight. 12 midnight on what date? Well, you'll probably guess. The trial blackout started on the 25th of January. It started on this date in history. This is Jim Furlong for NTV News.
Our NTV Telelink viewer reaction question of the week is about the St. John's Fog Devils. The team is leaving because not enough people went to games, but it was still part of the community during its short stay. We want to know, will you miss the St. John's Fog Devils? Yes or no? 722-5015 is the number to call. We'll tabulate the votes and have the results on Monday.
Well, now we've got some special greetings to send out to special viewers who watch our program each and every night. And this evening they are celebrating. We'd like to acknowledge that. First of all, a 91st birthday greeting going out to Flory Coles, residing at the Hillcrest Manor in Musgrave Harbor. Love and best wishes coming from family and friends. Lucy Johnson of Little Catalina celebrating her 94th birthday tomorrow, the 26th. Again, family and friends wishing you all the best on your special occasion. Want to say hi to Madeline and Dorm Osmond of North Arm North celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary tomorrow, the 26th. Happy 51st anniversary greetings going out to Maxwell and Dorothy Sully of Heart's Delight. Greetings from family and from friends. They're celebrating this evening. Ernest Hines of Fairland is celebrating his 99th birthday tomorrow. That's January the 26th. All of his family and friends want to wish him a happy birthday and continued good health. Gerald and Teresa Healy of Fox Harbor, Placentia Bay, celebrating their 56th wedding anniversary tomorrow. Minnie Lewis, 90 years old as of Sunday, January the 27th. She's from Bonavista. That's where she's living now. A 65th anniversary greeting going out to Bessie and Norman Morris of St. John's. Congratulations coming from family and friends and all of us here at NTV, of course. Also want to say a special happy birthday to Mrs. Annie Walsh, 92 years old today, now residing at the Placentia Lions Manor. Greetings coming from all her family and friends. And finally, this evening, want to say hi and happy 52nd wedding anniversary to Rosie and Donald Ivany from Irishtown. Lots of love and best wishes from all your family and friends, and of course from all of us here at NTV. Hope you have a good celebration.
And we check in one final time now with Sharon Snow for an update on the weather forecast. Hi, Sharon.
Well, I'm starting to feel like a snowman, or a snow woman in this case, Lynn and Fred. By now, the winds have continued to gust, and as we mentioned, of course, they're going to gust up to about 90 kilometers per hour. Still about another 10 centimeters of snow yet to fall, according to our forecast. As we mentioned, if you don't have to go out, perhaps a great idea not to stay in and enjoy a cup of tea. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Sunshine is in the forecast. Trust me. sunshine tomorrow. I promise. And on Monday, too. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week.
Sharon's got a bit of a cold, it sounds like, this evening. Come in out of it now. It's time to warm up a little bit. Thanks for watching, everyone.
And that is our report for this evening. A reminder to our viewers, Tom Marshall, the Minister of Finance, our special guest. This weekend, Sunday afternoon, 12:30 for Issues and Answers. He's here to talk about the state of the province's economy, getting ready for the budget. It is that time of year when the finance people are quite busy crunching all those numbers and getting ready for the new budget. So we'll talk about that.
And there's certainly lots to talk about with a surplus of almost $1 billion. Lots of hands out there looking for a piece of that pie.
That's right. And actually, in the interview, I said to him that people are making the comment that this is a pretty good time to be the finance minister, and he said it really isn't. Because years ago, when there wasn't much money, you could simply say, well, there really isn't any money. He said now there are a lot of expectations and
harder to say no.
Harder to say no.
When you got a fistful of cash.
That's right. So we'll have that interview for you Sunday afternoon at 12:30. And a reminder again about the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary telling people that the Northeast Avalon roads are quite slippery. They're advising people to stay at home if you have to go out. Drive with caution this evening. And that concludes our rebroadcast of the NTV Evening News Hour.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
You're viewing NTV, Canada's superstation.